An inbox fills up, the meeting calendar expands, and the job still feels strangely fragile. Following every rule can still lead to being ignored, replaced, or passed over when budgets shrink. The old deal rewarded compliance, as factories and offices could be optimized when tasks were predictable. Automation and outsourcing now slice work into pieces, so instructions travel farther than any individual worker. When replaceable roles multiply, wages stagnate, and workers carry more risk without gaining more meaning. That pressure trains people to hide creativity, avoid judgment calls, and protect themselves by doing only requirements. A team can deliver on time, yet customers feel nothing, because the experience lacked a human connection. Another team creates real change, then gets copied, and suddenly ordinary output competes with free substitutes. In the next sections, you will see art, emotional labour, and map-making as practical ways to matter. This video is inspired by Linchpin by Seth Godin. Subscribe to practice indispensable work with confidence. For a long time, the bargain was simple. Follow instructions, and the system promises stability in return. That model relies on dividing work into tiny tasks, allowing managers to swap people like interchangeable parts. When tasks are easy to describe, competition finds cheaper labour or software, driving prices down rapidly. The result is fewer roles where showing up is enough, as value shifts toward insight and connection. A 40-minute recording can be broken into small pieces, then transcribed cheaply by many anonymous workers. The same logic applies to office tasks, making anyone who does only fragments easy to replace. This idea explains why feeling average can be exhausting, as you are always competing on cost and speed. The alternative is becoming the person who makes judgment calls, creates trust, and changes the experience for others. Write down the parts of your job that could be done from a checklist, then circle what cannot. Focus your energy on the uncopyable parts, especially connection, discernment, and initiative, which transform routine work into art. Emotional labour involves the challenging work of showing initiative and empathy, even when following a script might seem safer. The process is about choosing to create a genuine interaction, ensuring the other person feels seen rather than processed. When people long for human connection, they remember those who cared, and often talk about it later. When work is merely rule-following, it becomes a mere recording, and the market swiftly seeks a cheaper alternative. Some flight crews enhance travel by performing with energy, jokes, and attention across many repeated trips, making it enjoyable. Other crews simply read the script, moving on quickly, leaving passengers feeling no bond or loyalty. Gifts like care, creativity, and respect are what make someone truly valuable, even in a system focused on metrics. The goal is not to please everyone, but to create a change that moves a person or a team forward. Choose one moment today to go beyond the minimum, offering a helpful next step without being asked. Practice receiving feedback with gratitude, as honest responses show whether the gift created the change you intended. The resistance is an internal force that pushes you to fit in, so you avoid the work that matters. It stems from the lizard brain, the survival system that fears status loss, criticism, and uncertainty. When this fear takes over, you postpone shipping your best idea, settling instead for safe tasks that impress no one. Over time, the habit becomes self-reinforcing, as the world never gets the chance to reward your contribution. Someone proposes a bold change in a meeting, gets laughed at, and hears an inner voice say, "Stop." Another person repeats the idea, adjusts the framing and returns with proof, causing the room to shift slowly. This is why emotional labour includes courage, as creating art requires being seen and risking rejection. Shipping does not guarantee applause, but it builds a reputation for initiative that routines cannot create. Choose one project that scares you for social reasons, then set a deadline to force it into the world. If you want support for doing brave human work at a higher level, subscribe and keep practicing. Map making is about deciding what to do next without a manual, based on understanding your current position and your destination. The process involves discernment, clearly noticing reality, and then choosing a path that hasn't been paved yet. When work becomes complex, no one can write a complete procedure, so the map maker becomes the key to breaking through bottlenecks. Without this skill, teams often wait for permission, lose time, and watch problems grow as everyone protects themselves. A scientist expects surprises, follows a hunch and plots a new course, instead of waiting to be assigned. In an organization, the same mindset turns confusion into action, as someone decides, tests, and updates the route. Art is valuable precisely because there is no map, so leadership becomes navigation, not compliance. The goal is not to be right immediately, but to move forward with judgment while staying open to better information. Start by stating the real problem in one sentence, then list 3 routes and pick the smallest test. After each result, redraw the map, because the next decision becomes easier when you accept that maps evolve. Indispensability manifests as a set of abilities that combine emotional labour with map-making within real work. These abilities include bridging people, generating unique ideas, managing complexity, leading customers, inspiring staff, mastering domains, and offering rare talent. Each ability increases value by changing how work flows through the network, not just how fast tasks are completed. When the organisation depends on mission and trust, a unique interface and creativity hold people together. A receptionist who researches visitors and welcomes them warmly can transform a security checkpoint into a genuine human moment. That small bridge builds confidence and cooperation, as people enter the meeting feeling respected rather than treated like numbers. The goal is not extra effort for applause, but choosing to elevate the job above the manual. When complexity rises, the person who can decide what happens next becomes invaluable to the entire group. Choose one ability to practice this month, then design a weekly habit that proves it through visible outcomes. Build domain knowledge and human connection together, as each enhances the other in challenging situations. The goal is not a fancy title, but becoming the person others build around when uncertainty rises. Indispensable work comes from being human on purpose, not from being perfectly obedient inside a fading factory mindset. You saw how interchangeable tasks get priced down, and why art and connection create value that spreads. You also learned about emotional labour, resistance, map-making, and the 7 abilities that make someone hard to replace. When these pieces combine, work feels less like survival, because you can choose initiative instead of waiting. Results compound as trust grows, because gifts invite more gifts, and networks reward people who connect others well. Start small by doing one generous interaction today, then add one decision that the manual never mentioned. Practice shipping one piece of work each week so fear shrinks and your judgment becomes easier to trust. When you stop asking for perfect instructions, you discover that making maps is a skill you can train. If you want to keep building this kind of courage and usefulness, subscribe for more ways to become indispensable